Okay, now we're going to look at the lower limb, the appendicular muscles of the lower extremity. We're going to start with the psoas major. I'm just going to take it from our book, from our list in order. So psoas major, origin, T12 to L5, transverse processes. Insertion, lesser trochanter. Innervation, lumbar plexus, L2 through L3. So if we look here in the diagram, it's really clear that we're going from the from the transverse processes of the lumbar spine to the lesser trochanter. And we can tell now if this point is fixed, this will flex. So it'll flex the lower spine. And if this point is fixed, it will flex the hip. And so when we look on the models, we're going to look above but behind the iliotibial band. So here, but even on this model that doesn't include the lumbar vertebrae, we can see here, let me double check 25. Yep. This is the lower half of it. Okay, next. So flexus hip, flexus vertebral column. We can see how that happens. Sartorius muscle. Origin, anterior to superior iliac spine. Insertion, the medial tibia near the tibial tuberosity. So and we love this muscle, right? Because it's the talar muscle. So that muscle allows you to put your right ankle on your left knee. So here, the origin, anterior superior iliac spine. Then it crosses from lateral to medial and inserts near the tibial tuberosity. All right? So when this muscle contracts, we're going to have flexion, lateral rotation of the knee, of the hip, sorry. Flexion of the knee, and we can have flexion and lateral rotation of the hip. And here's the muscle on this model. So it's going all the way lateral to all the way medial. Adductor longus. Now, where are we going to look for our adductors? We're going to look for lateral side or medial side?
Medial.
Medial, right? Sorry, you never know. Medial, adduct, we're adding. So, on the medial side, adductor longus, we need to be able to identify an adductor magnus. So let's look in the illustration. I love this illustration. Okay. Gotta take off my glasses off. So here's adductor longus. So origin, inferior ramus of the pubis, and the linea aspera of the femur. So we can see how when this contracts, we'll bring the femur closer. We're going to adduct the hip. But look at the next muscle, adductor magnus. Magnus, what does that mean? Huge, like mega. It goes from all the way up here, all the way down here. Okay? So the origin is the inferior ramus of the pubis, posterior to the adductor brevis, but the linea aspera all the way down of the femur. So this is a huge, huge muscle. So when we look on the models, we're looking on the medial side, and for the adductor magnus, we're going to look in a couple of different areas because it goes all the way, basically the length of the femur. All right. Again, long medial muscle that will adduct the hip. Did I forget anything in that? Okay, so adduct hip, flex hip, medial rotation. I don't see much on the medial rotation, so we're focusing on the adduction and a little bit of flexion, just because the ramus of the pubis is a little anterior to the femur.
Mm-hmm.
All right, pectineus. Origin, superior ramus of the pubis, insertion pectineal line inferior to the lesser trochanter. So really good picture. Here. So again, adducting, a little bit of flexion, just because this is a little superior. And which model can we see this on?
I know you can see it on the big leg. If you take off the glute, take off the.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the wrong side.
So that would be,
Would that be number 5? Oh no,
This is a
no, I'm
different
sorry. Yep, my bad.
So it was on the right side.
yeah,
Yeah, you were right.
that.
It's a
There.
pure former.
Right.
Yeah, it's my bad.
No problem. Good.
So
And the
stupid.
last muscle that we have in our adductor group is the gracilis. So origin is the inferior ramus of the pubis, insertion medial surface of the tibia, inferior to the medial condyle. And we see it here. So here's our origin, here's our insertion.
Okay.
So tightening this muscle will adduct the hip. So where do we have it here?
So yeah.
It's right next to the sartorius.
Sartorius. Right, and what does gracilis mean? What is gracil? Thin. So we have two thin muscles close to each other. So the sartorius will know because it crosses from lateral to medial. And then the next thin muscle that's adducting is the gracilis.
That's how I remember it, is the sartorius.